there will be a financial gain for societies when it comes to protection of rhino, because it increases the tourism model, and the national parks will have more tourists coming to the Lower Zambezi Valley to see the rhino. Having the rhino back in the Lower Zambezi Valley is going to improve the whole attraction to the Lower Zambezi Valley to the whole outside world. Having that extra element back in the valley, I see it being a key to helping the valley totally break away from hunting and having a large number of non-hunting tourists visit the Zambezi Valley and bringing in the revenue that both the country need, the community need, the wildlife need, and the protection of the wildlife, and also of course the rhino.
Would you think that if this confirmation process goes the way you're planning, would that change the atmosphere here? No more hunters around, but more of maybe family photo safari people?
It's a inevitable progression that blocks that were hunting transform eventually into non-hunting blocks. Society has changed. The whole appreciation of a hunting safari is much more acceptable, as we all know, to go on a photo safari than a hunting safari. So I think the workers and the communities appreciate that. They of course there's no more meat that's coming from the dead animals, but with photo safari you have a lot higher turnover of numbers of clients, and numbers of clients is important to the people who work in the industry, the staff, because they see it being much more progressive, and they get a lot more revenue from it, from tips and much more working days. So they accept it and they actually welcome it. And I think also the operators also welcome, because a big block like Riet, as an example, which is a massive area, it's over 100,000 hectares. In the past, that whole block would be controlled by one safari operator with one camp, whereas going forward it has the potential to have several camps and a lot more client turnover. So it's revenue based. It can be bigger than hunting, and also it employs much more people for what that huge area can do.
So it may even have a bigger impact, a positive impact on the communities.
I think so, definitely. Yeah. Also I think psychologically, when you have a block that is protecting the animals, it is easier to convince the surrounding communities, guys, don't kill the animals, these animals are an asset alive, versus driving around with a dead animal in the back of you will pick up and saying, don't go and kill that animal. So psychologically, I think it makes any poaching, the winning of hearts and minds in the surrounding communities much more easier. But people are hungry, and you have to have in place other ways of helping those communities, not just telling them what's right and what's wrong. They need to benefit and have food on their plate as well. So it's a lot. It's a very in-depth operation, not just standing around with a gun protecting a rhino. It's winning hearts and minds and making sure communities benefit from this development.
Interesting aspect what you say about the hearts and minds, because what we hear often is that hunting, shooting animals is a white man's toy, or the animal is a white man's toy, and that might change then.
Look, it possibly was back in the 60s and 70s, because it was very much the professional hunters were back then were mostly white, and the safari operators were mostly white, and the clients were mostly white. That said, there was still a lot of revenue was coming back to the communities regardless, and to the governments. But definitely in the last 20 years, the industry has definitely progressed with change, and in Zimbabwe you will find most of the safari operators are either white and black together, working together in partnership, or black-owned operators. You probably find right now there's as many black professional hunters as there are white. So it's no longer a racial divide when it comes to safari operation. But of course, the hunting clientele, most of our hunting clientele that would come would be Europeans, Russians, Eastern Europeans, and Americans, which were predominantly white people coming hunting. So yes, the clientele was mostly of white color, but they weren't the only ones. We do have a lot of Chinese that came hunting. We used to have a fair amount of black, wealthy black Americans. It wasn't always only white, but it was mostly white colored people.